So we live in a time where you can make digital versions of yourself that can go out and they can live forever and they can help people forever, basically. And that is just cool. It's very interesting. It's very weird. It's very cool. Now, if you want to do this, I mean, the way that, that most people do it these days, if you're going to create what's called content, is you create social media videos, written content. Sometimes you write blog posts. Sometimes you can do live things. You can do masterminds. Some people like to do podcasts where they either teach on the podcast or do interviews. There are different ways to do this now. But the key is that you can take the essence of what you've learned in your life, your gifts, your skills, your knowledge, and then you can put it into a format that goes out there and then teaches people, and it can live forever. And what happens is, as you do it, you get better at it because it's a skill to learn to do this. The first time you do it, nobody cares. And then the second time, nobody cares. And then the third time, nobody cares. And then the fourth time, all of a sudden, some people watch it, and then you get some, some likes, and a couple of people write to you, and they share it, and you realize, oh, they liked that one better than those other three. And then you make another one and nobody cares, and another one, and a couple of people like it, and another one. And then at the 10th one, all of a sudden, a bunch of people like it. And then somebody else picks it up and they call you and they say, hey, I'd like to do an interview with you or something. And you kind of find your way along. And then all of a sudden you have these insights where you realize, oh, some people like to hear about this topic a lot more than these other topics. So for example, when I was teaching dating advice, men really liked information on how to start a conversation with a woman. They're very interested in that one because there was a lot of fear and nervousness that was, up around that, and they didn't know what to say. And so if I would touch on that topic, right, guys they're just really interested in that particular topic. And it took me a little while of writing newsletters and interacting with them and doing things to realize that, to get that that's one of those topics. Another one is how to make an online dating profile. Right? It took writing a bunch of different newsletters on a whole bunch of different things before I realized, oh, I wrote one on online dating, and everyone's talking about that now. They're really interested in this topic. And then once I found a set of these things, then what I would do is I would focus on those topics when I would create my newsletters. And then that would get more interest because, if you're teaching, let's say if you're interested in dating, it's an endless topic, right? We could talk about grooming. We could talk about health. We could talk about self-image. We could talk about confidence. We could talk about creating online dating profiles. We can talk about, better communication. We could talk about flirting. We could talk about, compatibility. There's just a million things we could talk about. It's endless. So what do you do? Well, some people, they say, well, I want to teach my clients, I want to teach my audience about everything I know. So I'm going to do one newsletter or blog post or one video. I'm going to do one about confidence, and then I'm going to do one about nutrition, and I'm going to do one about self-image, and I'm going to do one about, right? And so they say, well, there's 100 different things to talk about. I'm going to just make a blog post on every single one of them. That's their approach. And that can be fine. But my experience is that in the long run, it's usually not the best way to go if you want to help the most people and you want to get the most clients. The best way to go is to create content on different topics that you think might be the ones that are the hot button topics, the rich topics, the ones that have the most interest, the most kind of emotional value. And then pay attention, measure in some way how clients respond to these. And then when you find one that's a real hot button topic, make a note to yourself and say, this is one where there's a lot of interest. And then make a little collection of those. And then when you create your content, mostly focus on those. So me, let's say teaching dating advice as an example. Once I learned that men are interested in starting conversation with women, pickup lines, what to say as an opener, how to present yourself, like that whole first few minutes, or that first few seconds really of the interaction, I know now if I create a newsletter or a video that's on what to say to start a conversation with a woman, I know that that's probably going to get more interest and attention on average than some other thing that I haven't tried out yet, because there's so much interest about it. If I create a newsletter, a blog post, or some content on how to create an online dating profile, I know because that one, right, that was one of the 10 or 20 that just got a lot of attention. I know, that's one that's going to be kind of a perennial favorite. And guess what? Inside of each of these kind of worlds, there's a million options. So, if we said how to create an online dating profile, right? That's a whole niche right now. That's literally a whole place that there are a bunch of different teachers teaching in just how to create an online dating profile. Because again, it's so rich with possibility. And you can go all these different directions. How to make photos. How many photos should you make? What should you wear in your photos? You could just go just into the pictures. What about your headline? How should you write it? What about your description? Which online dating sites should you put your profile on? Right? What's the best strategy for making sure that your profile shows up in different types of search results? Should you send your profile as your introduction? Does everybody see what I mean by this topic itself opens up into a whole bunch of different worlds? But if I know, okay, so I'll say it this way, value tends to cluster in places. Okay, so in the ground, okay, resources like coal and diamonds, these are in clusters. They're not everywhere. So when you find a cluster, you want to mine it. You want to dig into it. And that's what I want to recommend to you right now is the topics that your audience, your clients, your social network, the things that they're the most interested in, the things that they respond to, the things that they give the thumbs up to, the things that they write the comments, they forward to the friends, they share. Those are the things that's when you want to have a kind of little ding, ding, ding go off in your mind and say, oh, this is an area where people are really interested. So let's do more there. Kind of like if you're digging in the ground and you find a diamond, you go, you know what, let's dig around here. Let's dig around here a little bit more. In Egypt, where we were in the Valley of the Kings, they find tombs there and they say, there's multiple tombs here. You don't stop and then go 300 miles into the desert and dig for tombs. You say, maybe there's more. And then that's how they find things like King Tut and others.